Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. The first weekend of 2015 is the busiest two-day period for the airport. Annually, the executive team, along with all workers in every department at Aruba Airport Authority, have to prepare and follow procedures accordingly, as well as efficiently, in order to process each passenger and each flight. The chaotic season is yet to be over. The first few weeks of the new year are crucial ones for Reina Beatrix Airport, as they must handle and process an increased amount of traffic. The first weekend of the year is referred to as the Super Weekend, as it is expected to be the busiest one of the year. In order for every aspect of a passenger's travel plans to go accordingly, it requires a tremendous amount of teamwork from internal operations of the airport.
The past weekend was for us what we consider the super weekend at the airport. It's the first week of 2015 after the holidays, where everybody is traveling, either returning to their destination or visiting Aruba or coming back home. It was indeed a super weekend. Why? Because in a two-day period we processed more than 25,000 passengers at the airport, and we had more than 400 aircraft movements at the airport during this two-day period, which is something that, based on the great teamwork between all, both the private sector and the public sector, everybody, all the key players that took part of this in the planning for this super weekend, we had such a successful weekend after all.
In terms of flights, both the private and public terminals required additional manpower, seeing as the airport had to deal with more than 400 flights coming in and out.
We had over 400 aircraft movements, to be exact 414. This means, for instance, that when a plane arrives at the airport, that's one movement. So when it departs, that's the second movement. So if you divide it by two, you will reach around 200 airplanes, counting both the private airplanes and also the commercial airplanes, which of course is a very exciting number for us, so that we were able to handle and process all of these flights on these 2 days.
The hectic season is yet to be over. The team at Aruba Airport Authority are anticipating another busy few days for this coming weekend.
For the coming weekend, we are expecting also a very busy weekend. Maybe not as busy as the super weekend, but this is not sure yet. Of course, in the travel industry, you don't know ahead of time how many people exactly will be traveling, but we are expecting a busy weekend coming up. So again, a quick tip for all those traveling in these days: be on time at the airport, make sure that all your paperwork are correct, that nothing is missing. From our behalf, we will make sure that your experience at the airport will be very pleasant.
In other local news, the signing took place for the multi-functioning building in Paradera. All parties involved with the MFA building in Paradera signed an agreement to see the project through. The signing was between SOGA, Aruba Investment Bank, BIC, the contractor, and the government, who was represented by Prime Minister Mike Amon and the Minister of Infrastructure, Benny Zeevinger. The MFA building will act as a similar facility as the one currently in operations in Nord. People will be able to find AZV services in the building, along with picking up government documents. Recreational areas will also be available. There will be space for students to study as well. Parents who have to wait in line for appointments or to pick up documents at MFA can leave their children in an area where recreational activities will be held. Joel Cruz is the designer of the building. The MFA project is scheduled to be completed in 240 working days. Here is a quick note for travelers. Yentl Lieuw is expanding and adding more routes to their portfolio. Starting January 14th, 2015, Yentl Lieuw will be inaugurating their flight to Manaus, Brazil. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with lifestyle topics. Stay with us. After the break, Mint is a new portable device that tells you when you have bad breath. Thanks for staying tuned to 15 on 15, and welcome back from the break. Exercising keeps us young. We've heard that saying before, and now scientists have proven this to be true. Active older people resemble much younger people physiologically. This is according to a new study of the effects of exercise on aging. The findings suggest that many of our expectations about the inevitability of physical decline with advancing years may be incorrect and that how we age is to a large degree up to us. Aging remains a surprisingly mysterious process. A wealth of past scientific research has shown that many bodily and cellular processes change in undesirable ways as we get older, but science has not been able to establish definitively whether such changes result primarily from the passage of time, in which case they are inevitable for anyone with birthdays, or if it results in part from lifestyle, meaning that they are mutable. Scientists conducted a study. It was done on 2 groups of cyclists varying in age. Their time and endurance were captured on paper. On paper, scientists could not determine any of the cyclists' age. On paper, everyone looked young, even though some of the participants were above 70 years old. Scientists say being physically active makes your body function on the inside more like a young person. Let's get into the female body part for a minute. There are misconceptions as to when a woman's vagina stretches and loosens. For instance, women's health specialists are saying many people falsely assume that women who have less sex have tighter vaginas and women who have more sex have looser vaginas, but this is not the case. The muscles in your vagina are elastic. They contract and go back to their normal shape after sexual intercourse and also after childbirth. There are 2 times in life when your vagina does change shape for a longer amount of time, the first time being after childbirth. Some studies have shown that the vaginal muscles can take up to 6 months post-delivery to get back to their normal shape and size, but they still do. The other time your vagina changes is as you get older. As women age, their hormone levels drop, which means the vaginal walls thin out and become less elastic, so the muscles may get looser. The good news is that the tone of the muscles can be improved by Kegel exercises, no matter the age of the woman. Let's face it, we've all experienced bad breath, whether it is us who had it or someone we were talking to. Either way, it is unpleasant. Cue in Mint, a device that analyzes a user's breath to determine if it is stinky. Take a look. Morning breath is not okay, but unfortunately, it's not only in the mornings that we experience bad breath. So Mint is here to help. The science and technology behind the device helps to manage your oral health. Bad breath and poor breath quality can have several causes. It could be food, poor hygiene, and dehydration. Since hydration is directly linked to quality of your breath and overall health, Mint is designed to monitor both. It analyzes your breath and hydration data over time. It also makes suggestions for long-term improvement. Amazing what technology can do nowadays. So with the new device, there is no more breath guessing and masking. It's a nice confidence boost as well. Let's take a quick break. This is what's coming up next. Warnings, fines, and impoundment. Everything you need to know about the new dog law. Next. The committee behind the new dog law have done their best to inform the community regarding the new policy. It is now time for action. Warnings will be given, fines will be issued, and dogs will be impounded. In order to eliminate the number of street dogs on the island, a new dog law is enforced. The control teams are patrolling various neighborhoods to ensure pet owners are aware and are abiding by the new law.
What we're going to do basically is go on the streets and talk to the people and make sure that they are complying. If they have information, give out the information. But if they're not compliant, we're basically checking out if they're in compliance. If they're not, they'll be fined, they'll give warnings, and worst case scenario, as I said, they'll pick up their dogs. We know there are locations in the island that are more inhabited by more dogs than others. And for those dogs, for those areas, we know about them, and they have been notified, and the groups that are going out to check on these will handle accordingly and make sure that that problem eventually is also solved.
Various groups are being trained on the procedures in confronting dog owners, issuing the fines, as well as taking in the dogs.
Police and other groups are currently in training. Some have already been trained. They know exactly what the law entails, how to deal with dogs that they encounter, and how to deal with the people that they encounter, and what to say and what to do when they get to such a situation.
The committee behind the new dog law is aware there will be irresponsible pet owners who won't comply to the rules and will not claim their dogs after they are impounded. This is out of the committee's control, so they can only hope for the best.
Of course, you have situations where people decide to no longer have their dogs. They make a choice. They make a choice that it's much of a hassle to pay fines. You would have these people. They would let their dogs go on purpose and not have any responsibility, nothing to do with the dog. It's a shame, but the reality is that people will do that. They are doing that too. But we hope that that's the minimum, that's the bare minimum of everybody in Aruba. And the majority takes better care of their dogs and is taking good care of their dogs, that they don't have to deal with that situation.
A phone number will be released soon for people to call to report on any wandering street dogs in their neighborhood. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. right here on Channel 15 ATV. We'll see you then.